there's this many here.
It's fun. There's like a couple people who just narrate the whole experience. You know, it's like they're really in Spanish you would say like aprovechar, like they really take advantage of the moment by the way that they have everyone. Okay. Once virtual, now we're here in person, connecting as humans. Did you want this?
I'll take it back to my office later. Okay, one sec.
Good Shabbos, good Shabbos, good Shabbos. So good to be with all of you.
Shabbat Shalom. We are going to start on the bottom of 13. It's the last paragraph. And it says, Yismachu Hashamayim, let the heavens rejoice, and the earth exalt, and let the sea with all of its thunder and everything in it rejoice. So this is a song of rejoicing. It's a very spirited opening, and it's one of my favorites. And I hope you'll join me. Yismachu Hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo Yismachu Hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai 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 yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mamai yamamai mai Yismachu Hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo Yismachu Hashamayim v'tagel haaretz yiram hayam umelo yamamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai 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 yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai yamamai mai mamai mamai yamamai mamai yamamai mamai yamamai mamai yamamai.
Shabbat Shalom. So great to be with all of you. The other night, Iris mentioned she remembered one of my earliest services here, where Ken and I were leading, and all of a sudden, just about at this moment, Ken's guitar string broke, and he ran off. And he said, "Talk about the Chadodi." And then he just like disappeared. And then I was standing there in front of all of you, and I was so excited, because it was like the one prayer I really knew something about. And I was like, yes, thank And what I love about Lecha Dodi is that it really speaks to the dissatisfaction with the spiritual experience of prayer, because it was invented by the rabbis up north in Sfat, and they weren't connecting with Friday night. It was Shabbat. They were supposed to be excited, but the prayers as structured really weren't speaking to them. So it's so much like what we do today. They're like, this thing, being in a shul, it's not working. Like, we need to go out into the fields. Like, let's dress up. Who here likes to dress up now and then? It can be really fun. They put on all white. They went into the fields to meet the Shabbos bride, this idea of this divine encounter, this encounter between the divine and Bnei Yisrael, children of Israel, meeting to welcome in this time where they're invited to be with the world as it is, to not have to fix things, to not have to change themselves, to be in a place of surrender, of acceptance. But it wasn't working inside, so they went outside to do that. And they found this liturgy in the Psalms, and they crafted this thing. And that, in a way, is what so many of us are doing now. Like, we often need to go out and be at the beach or on a hiking trail, for myself, or wherever you find that connection with spirituality. So take a moment, maybe, just before we jump into Lecha Dodi. You can close your eyes if you want, or just rest your eyes, and maybe in your mind's eye, bring yourself to that place of ease and comfort, that place of wonder and awe. Maybe it's a place you go all the time, but each time you are there, you're just like, this place is amazing. And see if that opens something, even just a little bit, opens up your heart, invites in a bigger spirit to take hold of you as we join together for Lecha Dodi on page 20.
Yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi, yalla la 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 likrat kala, yalla la 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 penei Shabbat, penei Shabbat nekavela, yalla la 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 Lecha Dodi. Shamor vezachor beribur echad ishmianu el hamyuchad Adonai echad u'shemo echad l'sherut tiferet Ador Adonai, Elohim Miglai, Elalai, Elalalai, Lachadodi, Elalalai, Likrat Kala, Elalalai, B'nai Shabbat, B'nai Shabbat, Mekavela. We rise, we face the door, the entrance, just like when we had our eyes closed, just to welcome in that Shabbat presence, that Shabbat bride. Loi v'shalom, ateret bala, gam besimcha u'b'tzola, tov emunei hamsegula, boi chala, boi chala, yai lai lai, la 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 chadodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nai Shabbat, b'nai Shabbat, nekavela, ya la 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 chadodi, ya la 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 likrat kala, ya la 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 b'nai Shabbat, b'nai Shabbat, nekavela.
Invite you to remain standing for the Baruch on page 28.
Lai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai la la la, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai la la la. Barechu et Adonai hamevorach, Baruch Adonai hamevorach, leolam vaed. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai la lai lai, yai lai lai, yai lai lai lai, yai la lai lai lai, yai lai.
We read together on the top of page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. We continue together reading the English in the middle of page 32. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your truth. Day and night we will reflect on them. for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, Ohev Amo Yisrael.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Baruch Shem Kevod Malchuto Leolam Vaed. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha b'chol levavcha v'chol nafshecha u'v'chol meodecha v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele asher anochi metzavecha hayom al levavecha Veshinantam levanecha, vedibarta baham, beshivtecha bebetecha, uvlechtecha baderech, uvshochbecha, uvkumecha, ukshartam leot ayadecha, vehayu letotafot beinenecha, uktavtam. Amezuzot betecha uvisharecha leman tizkeru vasitem et kol mitzvotai vitem kedoshim lelohechem ani Adonai Elohechem asher hotzeiti etchem meretz Mitzrayim Liot lachem lelohim, ani Adonai Elohechem.
Amet. We continue with Michamocha on page 40. In the email this was sent out today, I referenced the shooting in Buffalo. And I just think about these poor souls that are going shopping to get food, to nourish their families, and they're targeted for being black and murdered. And what does that mean for every other black person that goes shopping in America? And what does it mean to feel that sense of being threatened? And this guy who hates black people and hates Jews and hates immigrants, we now all feel that sense of fear in the world. It's hard not to. We have a shooting in Orange County. And it is really in these moments that I feel like I need some sense of protection, of having a talit that could be big enough that it could just like wrap around all these people that are living with real fear, moving through the world, doing their very simple acts of just living. So I'd love for us, as we are sitting in this beautiful space, hopefully feeling safe, being in community, that we can kind of just project out a sense of a Sukkot Shlomecha, a sukkah of peace that is wrapping around all these people in our country that are just recovering from the trauma of that attack. And that we too could feel that sense of safety and protection and just kind of divine love upon our bodies. So let us join together with the words of Hashkivenu, which you can find on our supplement.
Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu Leshalom, Leshalom, Ve'amidenu Malkeinu Lechaim, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha, Ufros Aleinu Sukkot Shlomecha. Shelter us beneath thy wings, O Adonai. Guard us from all harmful things, O Adonai. Keep us safe throughout the night, till we wake with morning's light. Teach us, God, wrong from right. Amen. Amen. Amen.
Invite you to rise of body or spirit for the Amidah. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotenu ve'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak
Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor veHanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, Vekonei Hakol, Vezocher Chastei Avot ve'imahot, Umevi Geula livnei v'neihem, Lema'an Shemo be'ava, Melech Ozer u'Moshia u'Magen, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen Avraham, Ve'ezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechaye HaKol Atah, Rav leHoshia, Morid Hatal, Mechakel Chaim Bechesed, Mechaye HaKol Berachamim Rabim, Somech Noflim Verofer Cholim, Umatir Asurim, Umekayem Emunato Lishenei Afar, Micha Mocha Baal Kefurot, Umito Melech, Melech Memit Umechaye, Umatzmiach Yeshua, V'ne'eman Atah L'chayot HaKol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Mechaye HaKol. Atah Kadosh v'Shimcha Kadosh, U'Kadoshim b'chol yom, Ya'alelucha Selah, Baruch Atah Adonai, Ha'el HaKadosh.
You are invited to continue in silent prayer, standing or sitting when you are ready.
If you take a look on page 62, one of my very favorite just lines of liturgy, right in the middle, Yihiyu le'ratzon imrei fi v'hegyon libi lefanecha Adonai tzuri v'goali. May the words of my mouth and the meditations and the prayers of my heart be acceptable to you, Adonai, my rock and my redeemer. And we open that Amidah, that personal space that we have, our personal space with whatever is your divine encounter at that moment. And this is our personal time. And we say, Adonai, open up my lips. It's not so easy to pray. Open up my lips that my mouth will speak your praise. Or my mouth will speak what's in my heart. And then you come to the end of the Amidah and you say, I really hope that it came out with all of my truth and all of my intent that I wanted, with all of the kavanah that I wanted. I hope I gave it my best. And that's what we say at the end of the Amidah. Yihiyu le'ratzon imrei fi ve'hegyon libi lefanecha. Imrei fi
There is a famous short story that was written in Yiddish by I.L. Peretz called If Not Higher. I just love this story. It is the story of the rabbi of Nimrov, and that on Friday morning at the time of prayers, when you're asking for forgiveness, he was nowhere to be seen. He would just disappear. And he's this chassid. And so in this period of time in the Jewish world, the two, there's always, there's not one type of Jew, there's always multiple types of Jews. So in this situation, there's the chassids, a little more spiritual, and then there's the litvaks, a little more rigid, a lot more rigid. So there's this kind of Hasidic master rabbi who vanishes on the Friday morning when he should be praying, and this litvak gets very curious. He's like, what's he doing? Where is he? Is he really praying? Is he serious about this? He questions. And so, as many people might consider doing with a rabbi, he sneaks into his house that next Thursday night, and he crawls under his bed. Yeah, obviously, this is what Marissa was thinking I would do. And the next morning, so the story goes on and on to say, does he fall asleep? No, he's a litvak. So he's up all night reciting the Talmud, which he has memorized, which is one whole shelf of that. And so he is ready for action. So dawn breaks Friday morning, and the rabbi gets up, and from under the bed, the story goes, that he watches him get dressed, and he dresses like a Russian peasant, and he tucks an axe into his belt, and he heads out. And this litvak's I'm gonna find him. I'm gonna figure out what's going on here. So he goes and follows him out into the woods, and he starts chopping down a tree, and then cutting up the tree, and putting it in a bundle, and then putting it on his back. And this litvak is going crazy. He can't figure out, what is this rabbi doing? And so he notices that the rabbi then goes back into the town and goes down this side alley, not the nicest part of town, and he knocks on the door. And so I'm just going to read the rest of the story because it is this very famous story. It should be read, not me summarizing. So there's a knock at the door, and this woman said, "Who's there?" asks a frightened voice inside, and the litvaks recognizes it as the voice of a sick Jewish woman. "It is I," answers the rabbi in the accent of a peasant. "Who is I?" Again, the rabbi answers in Russian, "Vasil." "Who is Vasil, and what do you want?" "I have wood to sell, very cheap." And not waiting for the woman's reply, he goes into the house. This is the rabbi with the wood. And the litvak, he steals in after him. In the gray light of early morning, he sees a poor woman with broken, miserable furnishings. A sick woman wrapped in rags lies on the bed. She complains bitterly, "Buy? How can I buy? Where will a poor widow get money?" "I'll lend it to you," answers the supposed Vasil. "It's only 6 cents. "And how will I ever pay you back?" asks the poor woman, groaning. "Foolish one," says the rabbi reproachfully. "See, you are a poor sick Jew, and I am ready to trust you with a little wood. I am sure you'll pay. While you have such a great and mighty God, and you don't trust him for 6 cents? Could be a woman, we don't know. "And who will kindle the fire?" asked the widow. "Have I the strength to get up? My son is at work." "I'll kindle the fire," answers the rabbi. As the rabbi puts the wood into the oven, he recited in a groan the first portion of the morning prayers. As he kindled the fire and the wood burned brightly, he recited a bit more joyously the second portion of the morning prayers. And when the fire was set, he recited the third portion, and he shut the stove. The litvak, who saw all this, became a disciple of the rabbi. And ever after, when another disciple tells how the rabbi of Nimrov ascends to heaven at the time of the morning prayers, the litvak does not laugh. He only adds quietly, "If not higher." So I wanted to share that story of what prayer can look like and what it looks like to live your values in the world, because we're here tonight to really celebrate and mark the very significant contributions of LBT's Dig Deeper to Fight Hunger. And it feels so distant, but we can, if you can, just try to remember what it was like in March 2020. I actually remember I was going shopping, no mask. Many of us didn't have masks at that time, and they said you don't have to worry about a mask at that time. Do you remember that? I do. And then I remember I put a coffee filter and folded it up in a bandana and used that and looked like an outlaw. I don't think very effective, but that was like the best I could do because we didn't have masks. And many of us, and I'd say myself included, like we focused so much on having really full cupboards, having plenty of food to feed ourselves, because it was like the one thing that we could control and really nourish ourselves. And of course, in that time, tens of millions of people lost their jobs. It was terrifying. And there was some support from the government, but people were still really struggling to feed themselves. And I think we were trying to figure out how to be responsive in that time to support people within and also but beyond our community. And really through the grace of Aaron Stockel, son of Eric and Ruth Stockel, grandson of Susan Stockel. Thank you so much, Susan. And he connected with this West Side Friends group, and they partnered with Food Forward and then the YMCA, the Katz Collins YMCA. And it was kind of this extraordinary thing that just, they really did an amazing job, and we inquired, are there ways that we could be helpful? And what they were doing that was so magical is that they were very wisely bringing in fresh produce, fruits, and vegetables, and they said we could really use dry goods. And so that is where we started collecting our dry goods on Wednesdays, and then we would transport them over, and they would blend the dry goods that we would bring with all the fresh fruit and vegetables. And then actually I think some of our members were like, what about some baked goods? And started getting baked goods as well. We were like, it's nice to have a nice little baked good, like a croissant or a baguette or something. So we reached out to some bakeries, and it was a really amazing partnership, and it kind of exploded in a good way, meaning that so many people signed up either to bring food, to help to bring the food over, or to help to do the packaging. In fact, they had so many people that they asked us that we just couldn't bring more people to do it because they were already so full, and they were obviously wanted to be careful. This was pre-vaccine, so they had to be careful with, exposure and things like that. So in all, we had over 200 people in Leo Back Temple who gave in some way of their time or resources, which is more than 20%. It's probably 20 to 30% of all of our families, which is a really extraordinary effort. And in very typical Leo Back Temple fashion, like we didn't put it on our website. We didn't have an article written about it. We didn't really do anything about it except appreciate the people that were doing it. And it's very much the way that we experience doing prayer in the world is just like this rabbi. Is we're like, there are people that are struggling, and we want to be helpful in some way. And sometimes we try to do that with systemic change, passing Measure M to raise $160 billion for equitable transportation with our organizing team, or it's something just like helping to feed people that are hungry. And by my calculations, I think that we helped to give out over 16,000 bags of groceries to people in need, which is a pretty significant number. Again, only in partnership with these amazing institutions. So I wanted to do a special thank you to, there's a handful of people who, so many of you, can you just, if you dropped off food, or if you gave money to the food bank, or if you helped to deliver it, or if you helped to package it, can you just raise your hand if you were one of those amazing Dig Deeper people? All right, raise 2 hands. Okay, amazing. Thank you so much. Okay, so I wanted to give, of course, special shout out to Aaron and the Stockel family who helped to make this happen and bring us in. And we're there every Thursday to to do the packing, which was really huge, and a lot of the delivery. B. Richmond and Elizabeth Jacobs, who couldn't be here tonight, were the two LBT co-chairs of this and worked to facilitate those relationships and help to recruit. And the food came here, but that's only part of it. You have to actually transport the food there. And so at first we had 4 cars coming. And then Mark said, I can stuff it all into my car. And so Mark figured out a way. I think he tore out 2 seats, and he was able to fit it all into his car. And every Thursday morning, without fail, he would be here, and he would pack his car, and he would drive over and drop it off for almost 2 years. And we're so grateful for that. That's an amazing way to be chopping wood in the world, really, right? Thank you. There were people that were there. Linda Levine, who is in, I think, her mid to late 80s, was there as often as she could be, helping to pack bags. And Dina Fleckman was also doing a lot of the delivery work, and probably many other people that are here that is there anyone else, B, that I'm not remembering that we should just make sure that we name? That was good? Okay. She gave me some guidance before. And what I love about this effort also is that as we were celebrating it, oh, thank you. I knew there was more. So because we had over 200 people doing it, and there were 4 Wednesdays a month, we had a captain for each Wednesday, and those captains were Elizabeth Jacobs, Hannah Weil, who started it while here and then went back to college at Colby and did it from there while in college, Vicki Wilson, and Jackie Friedman. Thank you so much. Also, our partner or liaison was Deborah Tauber, who was really critical in that. So I wanted to also say that when we were inviting people, as we tried to do this in January, but because of COVID, we couldn't be in person, a number of people said, we love that we did this, but we would love to continue to do it or find another way. And so there's a small team of people that have started working to identify another opportunity to continue to do this work on a weekly basis in some form or another. What I wanted to do is to invite up Erin Donahue, who is the executive director of the YMCA, who was our critical partner. As you know, many institutions at that time were shutting their doors because of obviously COVID concerns. And as someone who is a member of the Y at that time and was in a workout class with Peachy Levy and Marilyn Levin, and they're always in the front, and I was like hiding in the back. So they have many amazing classes there. They kept their doors open, and they made their space available both for the unhoused and to help feed the hungry. And with a very skeletal staff, they really stretched what their mission was to meet the needs of the community. So it is an honor to have you there, and invite you to speak briefly just to share some words.
Thank you, Rabbi. And I couldn't have shared the story any better. And I guess this evening I'd just like to say thank you. The YMCA, when we jumped into this, we had no idea what to expect. And we couldn't have found a better, more empathetic, strong, energetic partner than Leo Beck Temple. And we're just really proud of that. Today, the effort continues in the garage at the Y, 2 years later, to the tune of over 500,000 meals that we've provided to the community. So this group and others really saved lives, extended lives, and made a real difference in our community. So thank you. Thank you, Rabbi Ross, and everybody for being a part of this amazing effort.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks for coming. In honor of people's own contributions of their time and effort, the clergy team wanted to honor those people by making a donation to both the Y and to SOVA to feed those that are still in need. And if you are inspired to be part of the planning team, please reach out to B. Richmond, who is working with others to envision what future opportunities could look like. I just want to invite all of you who participated in Dig Deeper just to rise to receive a blessing. You can stay at your seat, but please rise. I'll keep it brief so I can just offer you a blessing of gratitude. So in a moment, we are going to sing the song Mitzvah Goreret Mitzvah, which means that one mitzvah leads to another, or kind of pulls you towards another. And that is so much of what we are seeking to do in the world, to bring our tradition alive, to honor this scroll behind us that we've been carrying for a couple thousand years, is to figure out how to honor it by doing the mitzvot in the world, and all of you contribute to that. So I just wanted to offer Mishaberach Avatenu Ve'imotenu. May the one who blessed our ancestors and said, it is not enough for us to be nourished, but we are called to go out into the world and nourish others. It is not enough for us to be housed and to be warm, but we are called into the wilderness to chop down trees that can be replenished, and then bring it in and offer that wood to others so that they too can be warm. May you feel that warmth yourself of living the mitzvot into the world, of feeling blessed with having encouraged others to see this model of feeding and nourishing others. And may it be that those people that receive the food, that they also know what a blessing that they are giving us to fulfill the commandments into the world, not just in prayer, not just in song, but in deed. Amen. Amen.
It also says, Lihiyot Tzadik Zetov, to do these righteous, to be righteous and do these acts of righteousness is so good, what you have brought into this world.
You may be seated. Thank you.
Mitzvah goreret mitzvah, Avera goreret avera, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, goreret mitzvah. Liot tzadik, zeto, zeto, liot tzadik, zeto, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, avera goreret avera, mitzvah goreret mitzvah, goreret mitzvah, yada da da da.
With the kavod, or weight or honor of the blessings that you all have done in the world, we now shift our attention to those in need of healing for our Mishaberach. If there is someone that you're thinking of that's struggling of mind or body or spirit, I invite you to rise or raise your hands so I can call upon you. You can speak their name aloud, and that we too can hold them in our hearts.
My niece, Norma Pellets, Jerry Weissman, Karen and Tom Wagner, Marilyn Gifford. Sally says.
We join together for the Mishaberach on page 253.
Mishaberach avotenu mekor habracha leimotenu. May the source of strength Makor habracha lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Invite you to rise for the Aleinu at the bottom of page 282.
Aleinu leshabeach ladon hakol, latet kedula leotzer breshit, shelo asanu kegoye haratzot, velo samanu kemishpachot adama, shelo samchelkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, vanachnu korim, ומשתחווים ומודים לפני מלך מלכי המלכים הקדוש ברוך הוא ונאמר ואדוני למלך על כל הארץ ביום ההוא ביום ההוא יהיה אדוני אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד, ושמו אחד.
There are stars up above, so far away we only see their light long, long after the star itself is gone. And so it is with people that we loved. Their memories keep shining ever brightly, though their time with us is done. But the stars that light up the darkest night, these are the lights that guide us. As we live our days, these are the ways we remember. As we recite Kaddish this evening, we especially remember Lawrence Aids, Gertrude Baruch, Nathan Berger, Alfred Blumenthal, Karen Bowers, Jonathan Brackelmans, Gerald Bronstein, David Cohn, Howard Esco, Mary Galansky, Joseph Howard, Herb Jacobson, Linda Littman Jones, Gertrude Feld-Kahan, Thomas Cohn, Natalie Kruskal, Erwin Levinson, Gertrude Luber, Elva Petesky, Pauline Petesky, Isidore Petesky, Aaron Reagans, Sidney Raymer, Howard Rubin, Fred Sale, Layla Mae Samuels, Jake Samuels, Sandra Segan, Oscar Sterling, Robert Warner, Jeanette Ziegler. If there are others that you're thinking of or holding close today, I invite you to rise, and when I call on you, speak their name aloud. We join together for Kadisha Tome on page 294. Please rise. Yikadal v'yikadash shemei rabbah, b'alma divrach hirute v'yamlich malchute, B'hayachon uvyomechon u'chayed chol beit Yisrael ba'agala uvizman kari v'imru amen. Yehi shmei rabba mivarach le'olam olmei almaya. Yit barach v'ish tabach v'yit pa'ar v'yit roman v'yit naseh. V'tadar v'taleh v'talal shmei dekudasha brichu. Leila min kol berchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata. Dami aran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehi shlama rabba min shemaya. V'chaim aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromam. Hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu v'al Yisrael v'imru amen. May our beloveds continue to be a blessing in our lives and in this world.
While you're standing, if you have a little orange goldenrod paper, I think it's more goldenrod, we're going to count the Omer. As I've said for these last few weeks, it is our count from the second day of Passover, from our really what would be our day of freedom, our first day of freedom. We count all the way up to receiving Torah in the wilderness, which gave us our laws and who we became. So we will count today. We'll say the blessing first in Hebrew and then go right to the counting of the day. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al sefirat ha'omer hayom chamisha u'shloshim yom shehem chamisha shavuot la'omer. Today is 35 days, which are 5 weeks of the Omer. We're almost there. And now we finish with those words, Oseh Shalom. Oseh Shalom Imruma. Hu yaseh Shalom Aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. Ve'imru amen. Yaseh Shalom. Shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael.
May it be that we do bring that peace down from up high, down here in this world, into our hearts, into our homes, into our bodies, to be those peacemakers that we so need in the world. Shabbat shalom. Have a blessed Shabbat.